Hello and welcome back to another episode. This time I'll be using the Asari Huntress. I'll be using the commando package for the biotics damage and the pistol damage. Phalanx, just a reliable weapon. This is a power-oriented build, so I want the power amplifier. What I'll be using is Tactical Cloak to apply a pretty hefty power damage bonus to my skills, and from that I'll be casting Dark Channel and then detonating the dark channels with warp. The character itself is a little flimsy, but I'll be spending most of my time hiding and trying to be invisible so I won't be exposed to too much enemy gunfire. But let's see how this goes. The build can actually work out pretty well, but it also can struggle with certain things. One of the nice things, as I covered with the Awakened Adept, is that the Dark Channel can bounce from target to target, which can allow me to get through certain power shields and things like the Guardian Shield. But I've also got the advantage of being able to just mail slot them with the Phalanx. It's a pretty precise weapon. And hazard map. I think I've mentioned it before, but the hazard on this map is actually the fog. It just reduces visibility. It doesn't cause any inherent problems, it just makes fighting at range a little more difficult. There's no sandstorm inside the building though. And I think she said Geth Troopers. Which, yep. And I got my Dark Channel on something, but I have no idea what. What I really want is that guy to stand up. And I missed. And the Dark Channel itself actually ticks for a ton of damage. And I think because there's only the two of us, we're probably actually better off indoors. But that's alright. We've taken back the building here. Got him to poke his head out. He had no idea I was there, and got to light him up for it. The Dark Channel is actually strong enough to kill most of the elite monsters by itself, although the Biotic Explosions will certainly expedite things. Additionally, because it's an instant hit weapon, there's no chance to dodge the Dark Channel, which means I'm guaranteed to be able to apply it against anything that isn't immune to powers entirely. And since the Geth have nothing that can be completely immune, I'll always be able to at least apply Dark Channels to my opponents. Even though most of their units end up being able to dodge. You can see the dodging not helping them against the Dark Channels at all. And with the way the Cloak works, it's actually not as useful in most circumstances as one might think. If the enemy saw you, then they know you're there. And so if you cloak, even if they don't have you in line of sight at the moment you cloak, they'll still shoot at you and respond. Which is a little frustrating, but it would help prevent certain kinds of abuse. Where did that bomber go? To die? Nope. But now we're just playing right around the rosy, I suppose. So he's playing the N7 Paladin, which is a pretty nice character, but it has an outstanding bug that'll probably never be fixed at this point, where any combo that he detonates from his location rather than from the target's location like any other power. And so as a result, he can prime things for cryo explosions and detonate them, but it detonates from his position. which is probably less favorable than having me detonate them. But because I have warp, I can detonate any combo. I'm just hiding down there, I guess. But the cryo explosions are pretty handy, especially against the weaker monsters. They will completely freeze and disable weaker opponents. So even though they knew I was there, they would have absolutely seen me. The Cloak still adds a good deal of power damage. And there you can see I got the kill with the Dark Channel, but the Dark Channel was the only thing that I had ever used on the bomber. And there, get the bomber a little quicker. He is not the guy that was affected. That's alright though. My powers in and of themselves actually still hit pretty hard. Fuck. Hunter. This is bad. My weakness with this character though is direct confrontation. But I've pulled off several of the opponents, which means they're no longer chasing him. And since he had the package, that allowed him to get back. He had to burn a metagel, and I hate burning metagels this early. But since there's only two of us, and there doesn't seem to be anybody else joining, we're going to have to just make do with the idea that we're going to have to burn more consumables than usual. I think I got that hunter. Yep. I got the hunter with the Dark Channel. Ah, shit, I dropped it? Failures. Ugh, I'm doing terrible. Just terrible. And I can't really sprint carry here. I'm sure there are other people who can, but I'm not that good at it. So I'm not going to be able to... Oh! It's me using the stealth. That's what it is. Right. Using the stealth causes you to drop the package. Forgot about that. We do have a third person though. So at least there's that. And he appears to be a Geth Trooper. And there's a fourth, but... Okay, yeah, he's moving. He looked AFK for a second. He is also a Geth Trooper. I was actually playing with this Tazan guy a little bit ago. He's pretty solid. Does a good job of supporting the team. So, two Geth Troopers are pretty good. As long as they know how to deal with pyros, because going toe-to-toe with the pyro is probably still not a great idea. But the Geth Pyro doesn't have as much range as the player Flamer can. So as long as they took the range upgrade, they should be able to deal with the Pyros pretty easily. And of course, primes and stuff like that will always punish anybody who gets too overconfident. But as long as that's not going to end up being an issue, we'll have no problem cleaning all of this out. So, get a ticking on those pyros. The flamers from the fire explosions from all the flamers in the group, so I can also detonate those as well. As you can see here, just clearing out that hallway. Flamethrower supported by fire explosion combos. Very nasty. And there's a few powers that detonate everything. I know warp is one of them. I want to say throw might as well. And I apparently just got my 200th wave as an Asari Huntress. So that's nice. And there's a prime on the field. Primes can't dodge powers, which makes them really good targets for my combo. And although he overwrote the Biotic primer. But that'll happen sometimes. I'm gonna actually handle that pyro. Or apparently it was already mostly handled. This prime is having a bad day though. But I'm gonna see if I can get this guy. Yeah, he went down in a bad spot, or at least for me to get to. Ah, damn it. I didn't get the power off in time. I did get the kill though from the... It said Warp got the kill? That's weird. It should not have been Warp that got that kill. Warp only ticks for a few seconds, and it had been a little bit since I cast on it. But I'll take it, I guess. The Dark Channel, however, should absolutely have been continuing to tick. Dark Channel in single player does relatively low damage, but in multiplayer they pushed its number way up. Alright, that guy's as good as dead. It's just going to be a matter of time while the dot ticks. And that was a lag warp. I told it to dodge behind the wall, and then I think it warped me back in front of the wall to get me killed by the hunter. And I'm not going to bother reviving. I think the group's got this without me. Let's see what they're doing. Yeah, they're all actually working together. I probably should spend a little more time doing that. And as I've mentioned before, this N7 Paladin is using the Hurricane, and the Hurricane is one of the nicer weapons in the game. It's extraordinarily powerful. At least I think he's an N7 Paladin. I forget what abilities he actually has access to. But he seems to have a little something for everybody. Yeah, that's bad. He needs to back away. Or maybe they did fix the bug with the N7 Paladin's cryo explosions, because that definitely exploded on the target rather than on him. Yeah, the Paladin is one of the higher damage weapons in the game, but it has a very high rate of, or one of the higher DPS weapons in the game, but it has a very high fire rate, which is actually kind of a bad thing when you're shooting at armor, unless he has some good modifiers for it. If he has the right modifiers, then he should be just fine, and he appears to be doing well for himself. But in general, armor takes something like 50 damage off per shot, and so the slower you fire, the smaller portion of your damage per second is lost to armor's mitigation. Oh my god, I actually hit him with a Dark Channel. Yeah, must have though from getting assists down there. And I want nothing to do with that. Yeah, he's just got the... Damn it. Alright. Hunters can be pretty nasty if they get a chance to actually get in range. I would say that hunters are, at least from my playstyle, hunters are the greatest threat that the Geth actually have, with Pyros probably coming in second. So now, because the dark channel warped, or jumped from target to target, I don't actually have to apply it again, or in order to prime additional explosions. And that was pretty much an ideal situation. They were just coming at me single file, got the dark channel on one, and started just detonating combos back to back. That's how this build is more or less in its optimal environment. And then they're handling business. That's garbage. Yeah, I don't think I'm getting a revive. I'm not going to burn him at a gel. Although, of course, I say that and let myself bleed out, and then the guy shows up to actually do the reviving. That's alright. There's still 3 people up and barely anything left in the wave. I'm definitely underperforming, though. The rest of the group is having a much better game than I am. That didn't track.
They got me. Got it.
And that's what I mean by even if they didn't see you when you cloaked, they can still get you with attacks and whatnot because they still know you're there. And that prime is as good as dead. The dark channel also works very well against things like Ravagers and whatnot. The enemies that spawn additional small things, because a single dark channel will clear out all of them in one go. There's something ugly happening down there. I'm not even sure what.
I got you.
Kill that turret. Another really nice thing about warp, like I mentioned, armor reduces the damage that enemies take. Warp reduces the effectiveness of armor as well. I think it reduces it from 50 to like 12 or something like that. And I need to get this objective.
Cover me.
Yeah, that's the N7 Paladin. He's pretty unique in that he gets that shield as his melee. This is his heavy melee, is that shield. And it actually absorbs quite a bit of damage. If he specs to improve it, you get into the thousands very quickly. It's a pretty solid shield, so him throwing it up while I'm channeling on the objective is extra beneficial. It kind of wasn't a factor there, mostly because we didn't have any enemies even attacking us. But if something were to show up, he could have kept his shield up basically the entire time and kept me alive despite enemies that would have been trying to attack me. Alright. Last scrambler's over there. And it's important to note that even without stealthing first, the dark channel is still very potent. Tag that prime though. Oh, that is hostile fire. Noted. Where's that bomber at? I thought I hit it with a dark channel. Guess I didn't. The objective is down though, so there's no rush. Better to play safe. And that prime should still be alive this way. Or not, I guess someone got him. Back into my nest. Or the prime is still alive. Prime is absolutely still alive. The dual flamer thing is extremely potent. I believe I mentioned it one time. I think you could probably clear platinum with very little difficulty if you had 2 Geth Juggernauts to tank things, and any 2 flamer-based classes to kill everything. I don't think you would have any problem with any of the factions if you went with that combo. The Geth Juggernaut is amazing, and things that have flamers do an irrational amount of damage. Almost as irrational as my inability to use cover this game. Keep these rocket troopers from getting out of hand. And I believe I've also mentioned it before, you can kind of influence the way you pop up out of cover. If I just right click, you see I pop up. If I hold the strafe right button and then aim, you'll see I pop to the right. Doing that, you can control which way your character leaves, or leans out, which can greatly affect your ability to engage targets at different angles. And there you can see the dark channel traveled, which let me throw off a second warp to detonate another combo. And that hunter's down. But see, that Geth didn't know I was there, so it didn't even get a chance to react. I just kinda set him up to die, more or less. And we've got 10 seconds on the clock. I don't think it's going to be enough to kill the prime. But I'm going to try. And there you have it. The Asari Infiltrator. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.